Hello chess friends and welcome to Azarov Chess channel and welcome to another spectacular game from the TCEC Season 26 Superfinal that we have followed on the official and beautiful TCEC website. The game that I'll show you now was suggested to me by one of my viewers under the name Bluebell. Bluebell, thank you for posting me. I really missed this game. I'm not sure how I skipped it. I basically followed all of the games that have been played in the Superfinal. I somehow missed it. I think it's really great game worth to follow. Again, thank you, big thank for showing me this game because this is really spectacular. This is again sort of an Lc0 bishop pair that you see also again performed by Stockfish against Leela0. Really one of the best chess games from this finals for sure. So let's dive now into the game with the white pieces. The fish open with the move d4. Leela's response was knight to f6, c4, e6, knight to f3, the counter or Nimzo Indian setup. We have now move b6, which becomes now of course the queen's Indian defense, and now we have the Fianchetto variation with g3, trying of course to compete against this bishop on this diagonal. Bishop to a6. This is now the so-called Nimzowitsch variation. It's a clear idea to get further pressure against this pawn on c4, and then also in some lines push the pawn on d5, putting more pressure on this diagonal, because black thinks in some lines that it can still of course after bishop to g2 block out somehow this diagonal with a potential c6 move. We have now the move b3 by Stockfish 16, and now d5 immediately by Leela0, bishop to g2. We have d takes c4, and now the game is already dynamic. It becomes now a really sharp, open tactical battle between the two top engines, Stockfish and Leela. We have knight to e5, immediately putting more pressure against this rook on a8. Leela counterplays with bishop to b4, which is a good choice because you don't have so many chances. You can cover of course maybe with the move bishop to d2, but then after c takes b3, bishop to b4, we can play now this one, and after something like bishop to c3 we promote here. Then after knight to d5, black is slightly better here, I would say. Not a good position anymore for white. White is continuing now the game with a couple of lost pawns, so black has a good activity with this bishop here. You could maybe kick away the knight from the square d5 with the move e4, but then you're opening up the diagonal, then it's very hard to castle, so not really a good continuation anymore for white. Even if you try to cover after bishop to b4 with knight to d2, then it's messy again because queen takes d4 will happen. You can pick up now the rook maybe, but then also this one is hanging, and again I would say game over here for white. That's why for bishop to b4 the best way is actually to proceed with king to f1. A strange square actually for the king, but it's simply the optimal way. You're still connected to your pawn on d4, and still you have pressure against this rook on a8. We have now bishop to d6. A good also move by Leela, because this move is not allowing you here to play bishop takes a8. Then you could maybe try this one, bishop to e5, and you cannot take of course because you lose the queen. You can then maybe retreat with your light square bishop, but I think here black is pretty solid for potential, I don't know, c takes b3, a takes b3, bishop to d4, hitting the rook. Although black is down the exchange, but finally black has a great activity with the bishop pair, has also this endangered king position on f1, so not a pleasant game here for white. The engine gives here actually even equal chances, but I would not really left to play now this game anymore from white's perspective. So that's why for king to f1 and bishop to d6, Stockfish continued now with the normal knight to c4. Now Leela covers the diagonal, finally is not allowing this rook to be taken, and surprisingly see this is really an open battle. This line has been played many times. I see now in the database Garry Kasparov against Boris Gelfand, Garry won the game. Alexander Huzman against Garry Kasparov, then again Garry won the game with the black pieces in this position. Predrag Nikolic against Boris Gelfand, the draw for instance. Zurab Sturva against Peter Leko, again a draw. So very popular line, I think. When you meet two attackers, I think this is a beautiful sharp opening battle for really great attackers, for really great tacticians. So here after knight to d5, of course Stockfish continues now with normal development with bishop to b2, knight to c6, and now h4. This is now I think a very cool idea here by the fish, and actually it's also a theoretical novelty. Here Stockfish immediately launches a flank attack on the king side and is trying to open somehow maybe here the position on this side of the board. Waits of course also black to castle, and then to here white is trying to create some weaknesses when it comes to pawn structure in front of black's king. So we have now the move f5, knight to d2, we have now king side calcing, king to g1. We have now the move b5, and now finally knight takes d6. And this move, of course, creates now unbalanced pawn structure, creates also this messy position for black, because white is continuing the game with a bishop pair. But actually, after knight to d6, c takes d6, it's not such a dynamic bishop pair so far for white. White has to somehow open, of course, the dark square bishop somehow in its tough quest, because the knight is well placed here on d5. But the Stockfish engine will show us here really great attacking ideas, how to get both of these bishops in an active way. Here Stockfish plays, I think, really an amazing, incredible, sharp attacking game. So after c takes d6, we have now first of all the move e4. When you're having the bishop, you're trying, of course, to somehow open a position. You don't want this position to be blocked out when the pawns cannot move, because the knights actually love those kind of positions. So that's why e4, pretty natural idea. F takes e4, knight to e4, queen to d7, and now knight to g5. Now Stockfish immediately threatens some dangerous stuff, followed with queen to h5. This could be a very dangerous position. Bishop to h3, hitting this pawn is also very dangerous. The only bad piece, of course, for white is the bad bishop on b2. So far it's neutralized by its own pawn, so Stockfish will have to play somehow the d5 move, even if maybe Stockfish sacrifices one pawn. But this bishop would be then also very dangerous, combined with these other pieces that white includes so far in the attack. After knight to g5, h6, and now the fish plays an amazing queen to g4. Beautiful counter attack. For instance, you try h takes g5, this wasn't played in the game, then this is the threat. Bishop takes d5, you cannot pick up the piece because the queen is hanging, so that's why you could maybe try here bishop to c8 in a potential line. But after bishop to g2, I think white is much better. Now black has lost this knight that was creating this blockade. Now d5 is more realistic here for white, getting this dark square bishop finally into the game. So that's why after queen to g4, rook to f5 here by Leela0, and now another beautiful follow-up, rook to e1. Also, what was very interesting, that Stockfish could have played, for instance, already in this particular position, an amazing queen to f5, e takes f5, and then bishop to d5. I think leads into a very complicated game here for white. But Stockfish first of all plays the more correct choice, I would say, rook to e1. First of all, including the rook into the game. Still there is this option of queen to f5. In the game, after rook to e1, we have now knight to f6, kicking away the queen, and now comes queen to e2 here by the fish. Again, maybe in this position, maybe you could try after rook to e1 the move h takes g5. Then it leads into a very messed up position for both sides, I would say. Leela didn't play here h takes g5, but when I analyzed the game at home, I always tried to see, is maybe finally h takes g5 working for black? Can black really maybe in one particular moment take out finally this unpleasant knight on g5? But after h takes g5, immediately it again leads into this line that we have talked about, queen to f5, then bishop to d5. Then the issue is that after king to f8, actually you're losing the game on spot, because you get this one, h takes g5, and now the rook is coming into the game. You're trying maybe g6, look at this, check. We pick up now this piece, you deflect the queen to the square c6, and now after move d5, finally the dark square bishop is playing, and the game is over here for black. So that's why in this position, after e takes f5, bishop to d5, you have to play here king to h7. Seems strange due to getting action in front of the rook, but in a potential h takes g5, you can still hide with your king on g6. So that's why in this line, white should play then this one, bishop to e6, then we play bishop to f5, and after g6, now finally h takes g5, and now rook to h6. Look at this crazy position, you pick up this one, now again d5 is working, and now after knight to e5, look at this, you pick up even this one. This was very beautiful potential line that Leela0 and Stockfish didn't play. But actually I'm showing you this line because my Stockfish engine at home suggests that black should play the game like this. In the potential continuation, look at this, queen to d6, bishop to e5, takes, and now you cannot pick up, you cannot go closer with your king to g6 because you lose the bishop on a6. So that's why you would be forced to play something like b4. But now after rook to f5, Stockfish says that black can hold this position, although white has 4 pawns for the lost bishop. still a playable position, because especially of the fact that white is vulnerable maybe on light scores when this bishop is coming into the game. The king is also closer to the action, so maybe this was a line. But very, very cool stuff. After potential h takes g5 now and queen takes f5, this would be also very very cool to see. But knight to f6 first by Leela. Stockfish retreats to e2. If you pick up now the knight again on g5, then bishop to c6 is winning the game, because queen to e6 leads into complications. The rook is lost. Game over again here for black. After queen to e2, that's why rook to e8, protecting everything on around the square e6. Knight to e4 by the fish. Knight to d5. Again, Leela is blocking out the potential d5 move. I'm talking about this move because you see this move d5 will be in one particular moment the explosion of this amazing attack by the fish. Knight to d5 again, fixing the structure in the center of the board. Bishop to h3. Stockfish reroutes now the bishop on a more active diagonal, because here on this diagonal it's actually not doing so much. Leela retreats here now. Bishop to g4. Stockfish is sneaking in now with this beautiful bishop into the game. Knight from f to e7. Stockfish plays now rook to h2, queen to d8, and now f3. This move in the beginning seems like it's not doing so much, but this move is actually brilliant here by Stockfish 16. This move allows here some tactics on the h file and a great follow-up with the queen. You will see in one particular moment that Stockfish is preparing a beautiful tactical sequence to open up the h file, deliver check, and then follow up with the queen. So that's why f3 really a calm but really spectacular move here by Stockfish. After f3, knight to b8 by Leela c0, queen to c2. First of all, indirectly, of course, it's not obvious immediately. There is a checkmate threat on h7, but if something clears, of course, on the h file, if something also clears on this diagonal, then there is this weak square, this hole in black's position, the weak square on h7. That's well here. After queen to c2, Leela retreats with the bishop, keeps everything protected here around the square e6, but now Stockfish scales again with the move knight to g5. The move that we have seen again was very dangerous for Leela c0 to handle. Let's see again if you try h takes g5. Then after h takes g5, there's not so much that can be done. Look at this. The h file is opened. You will simply get destroyed by the queen and rook's activity. So after knight to g5, that's why knight to f6. But now a beautiful move by the fish. Bishop to h5. Great stuff. You cannot take the bishop because you get checkmate. Queen to h7, queen to h8. Immediately a checkmate. Really wild stuff. After bishop to h5, that's why rook to f8, bishop to g6. Knight to a6, and now queen to d2, rerouting the queen on a more active score, maybe trying also to do something here. If you try now h takes g5, then h takes g5 happens. You have to step back with the knight, and as I said, that's the beauty about this move f3. Rook to h8, and then queen to h2, a follow-up, and then you get checkmated with a beautiful queen and bishop's activity. So you see, f3 was, in my opinion, really amazing move by the fish. After queen to d2, b4 by Leela c0, we have g4. Stockfish puts more pressure. Knight to c7, and now queen to b4, simply going also for this pawn and in some lines attacking maybe here the weak d6 pawn. We have knight from f to d5. We have now bishop to h7, first a check, king to h8, and now queen to d2. If you play now, of course, bishop to h takes g5, then bishop to g6 is going to happen, and the h file will be open eventually. Again, game over. Even if you take, will take. If you don't react again, this h file will be open again. You're getting destroyed by the beautiful bishop's activity. So here we have after queen to d2, knight to f4, a good move by Leela. This square is very weak now for Stockfish, but again a beautiful move. Bishop to b1, trying of course also in some lines to play now the move maybe queen to c2 and deliver checkmate on h7. We have bishop to a6, not allowing this scenario, because after queen to c2, bishop to d3 would solve then the tactical problems for black. We have knight to h7, great stuff by the fish, rook to f7, and now g5, breaking and entering here finally with the pawns trying, of course, again open the h file where the king already is, and where already also the dangerous rook on h2. So we have now knight to h5 by Leela, we have g takes h6, and now g takes h6, and that was actually even the crucial mistake here by Leela c0. G takes h6 is not so good because you're finally opening this diagonal for the dark square bishop, and Stockfish always waited for this bishop to be open, and now finally it happened. A better choice is to play rook to f3, but again it's very complicated to play. We play knight to g5, we play rook to f6, then again h takes g7. I think again this bishop gets very, very dangerous, although you solved some problems. Then after rook to g7, I'm not sure. Maybe we can play bishop to e4 here. We can also play then king to h1, but this bishop, when it comes into the game, I think again it's game over here for black. But after g takes h6, I think this dark square problems are now even more obvious, because the Stockfish continues now with d5 immediately. e5 must move for Leela/c0, and now finally queen takes h6. The queen is coming in a beautiful way into the game. We have rook to h7, and now comes the ultimate stunner of this game. Maybe just for fun, if you want to practice some tactics, pause the video and try to see now the best continuation here for white. I would even dare to say white moves and wins the game. Okay, here Stockfish played the amazing rook takes e5. This is the way to go. Let's see now what happens. If you play rook to e5, of course, then the rook is deflected from the defense of this rook. It's checkmate immediately. If you play d takes e5, then bishop to e5 again does the same. Again, the rook gets deflected. You don't have to accept the challenge, but then bishop to h7, rook to h7, and now this rook is coming. You're trying to cover with pick up now this one, and you're getting checkmated by the beautiful queen and rook's activity. So after rook to e5, that's by rook to g7, and now comes rook to g2. Stockfish sacrifices the queen just in order to play this stunning move, rook to h5. We have, if you try here rook to h5, then bishop to g7 first. You cannot play to h7. You have to go in front of the rook on the g file, and then bishop to f6, discovered check, and you lose the queen. And in this scenario, again, I would say black is simply lost. So after rook to h5, that's why knight to e8, but now Stockfish takes. We have knight takes g7, and now rook to h6, picking up the piece. We have king to g8, and now Stockfish puts more pressure against this knight on g7. We have now queen to b6 first to check, and now king to f8. Even if you try to cover everything, then white can simply trade off everything, and this is obviously a completely winning endgame with 2 extra pawns for white. So black is lost. After king to h1, that's why king to f8. Stockfish grabs now this piece. Leela finally comes into the game, but Stockfish protects everything. One more check by Leela. Stockfish covers, and now simply includes now this rook into the game, and is of course trying to do rook to f5 and some other stuff with some rooks. So we have king to e7. Stockfish delivers a check. Leela goes forward, a new check by the fish, and now Stockfish delivers a new check, and now simply fixes the rook on a good square, on the square e6. Everything is glued together, everything is compact here. Queen to e1 by Leela. Stockfish goes forward, new check by Leela, but now this one, even if you try here bishop to c8 like Leela did to pin the rook, it doesn't matter. Stockfish simply gave it up. They allowed here some checks. Leela picked up now this rook on e6, but Stockfish has now 3 passers, the rook and the bishop, and a very active king, I think, again, from an endgame perspective. Game over for black. But Leela battled, queen to g1, Stockfish goes forward, simply fixes everything again, and now bishop to f5. No more checks by Leela are possible, no more good checks. You can maybe play queen to h8, but then king to g5 is again game over. We have now queen to d5, king to g5, and now a new check. Stockfish covers, still Leela/c0 is trying to go behind, and now after bishop to h7 in this particular position, Leela/c0 resigns. So what's the issue? If you try king to h8, then we simply go forward. You're trying to deliver one check, and then we play here king to h6. This one is protected. Again, no good checks are possible, and there's nothing that can be done against this move. Rook to f8. You can just of course prolong the game by maybe sacrificing the queen, but white is delivering checkmate for sure. So great game. Thank my followers for suggesting me this game. I somehow skipped it. Incredible attack by the fish against the queens in the defense with really spectacular tactics. This knight on g5 that was present through almost the whole game. Incredible explosion in the center of the board when finally Stockfish played the move d5, liberated the long diagonal for the dark square bishop. You saw the dark square bishop become really the sniper in this game. Incredible stuff again by Stockfish 16. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of the Queen's Indian Defense. If you want to see more spectacular, sharp, brutal, epic tactical chess like this, check out our Come to Chess games played by computers, with some more games by Stockfish, Alpha0, Leela0, and many more. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.